It is a plea that would break the heart of any parent, a desperate request from a man who has conquered the world, worn the crown, and is currently beating cancer, but who cannot seem to conquer the one thing that matters most, the distance between him and his own flesh and blood. We have received word of a secret, heartbreaking communication from King Charles to Prince Harry. It is not a command. It is not a royal decree. It is a father begging his son to fix a mistake before the clock runs out. The king has received the best possible news about his health. His treatment is reducing, the prognosis is good, but behind the palace walls the celebration is muted. Why? Because there is a void at the center of his life. 2 empty chairs at the table, 2 children who do not know their grandfather. And the obstacle, it isn't a schedule, it isn't a lack of security. According to our sources, the obstacle has a name, and that name is Meghan Markle. The king is reportedly pushing Harry to do the one thing he has been terrified to do for 6 years, stand up to his wife. He is asking Harry to break the deadlock, to override the gatekeeper of Montecito, and to bring the children home before it is too late. Welcome back to the channel, the only place where we tell you the truth about the pain behind the pomp. We don't just look at the official portraits, we look at the missing faces. If you believe that King Charles deserves to know his grandchildren and that no one should stand in the way of family, smash that subscribe button right now. We are diving deep into the king's heartbreaking request and the woman who holds the power to say yes or no. The headlines this week have been dominated by the king's emotional message for Stand Up to Cancer. It was a moment of triumph. Charles, looking vulnerable but determined, announced that thanks to early diagnosis and effective intervention, his own schedule of cancer treatment can be reduced in the new year. It has been almost 2 years since his diagnosis, 2 years of fear, 2 years of chemotherapy, 2 years of the unknown. And he has come out the other side, but while the nation cheers, the king is quietly weeping. An insider has come forward to reveal the devastating truth about Charles's state of mind. The source tells us, the situation weighs on Charles a lot more than he lets on. These are his grandchildren, his flesh and blood. He wants to get to know them in the time he has left. The time he has left. Those 5 words are chilling. The king is nearly 80. Even with the good news about his cancer, he knows he is in the winter of his life. He knows that time is the one luxury a king cannot buy. And he is watching that time slip away day by day, while Archie and Lilibet grow up as strangers in a foreign land. The report highlights the bittersweet reality of Charles's life. He is incredibly close to William and Kate's children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. He sees them grow. He teaches them about the estate. He is Grandpa Wales. But that joy only highlights the pain of the absence of the other 2. He cherishes the relationship he has with William's kids, but he doesn't know Harry's 2 at all. It has been 3 months since the Secret Peace Summit. Remember that? In September, Prince Harry made a brief covert dash to Clarence's house. 54 minutes, that was all they had. 54 minutes to bridge a gap of 19 months of estrangement. But we are told that brief meeting had a huge impact on Charles. It broke the ice. It reminded him that beneath the beard, beneath the bitterness, beneath the lawsuits, Harry is still his darling boy. The source says, Charles still sees Harry as a good soul at heart, someone who's made mistakes but isn't beyond forgiveness. This is the magnanimity of a king. Despite Spare, despite the Netflix documentary, despite the attacks on Camilla, Charles wants to forgive. He wants to move forward. He doesn't want to stay stuck in old resentments. But moving forward requires 2 people to walk in the same direction. And right now, Harry is trying to walk towards London, but he is tethered to a stake in California. The report states clearly, Meghan Markle is said to have made it clear that she sees their family's future in the U.S. Clear, unambiguous. She has planted her flag. She has no interest in the UK. She has no interest in the royals. And because she has no interest, the children have no heritage. Charles feels this estrangement has gone too far. He understands Meghan has her reasons, although frankly most of us struggle to understand reasons that involve keeping children from a loving grandfather. But he feels it has gone on too long. And here is the crux of the matter. The king is no longer accepting the excuses. He is no longer accepting the security argument as the sole reason. He knows who is really pulling the strings. The source explains, Harry is too protective to put the blame on her for the kids not seeing their grandfather, but everyone knows she's calling the shots. Everyone knows, the courtiers know, the public knows, and the king knows. So Charles has issued a challenge to his son, a gentle but firm push. He has been pushing Harry to take a firmer stand and push Meghan to let this happen. Think about the dynamics of that request. The King of England is asking a British prince to ask his wife for permission to bring his children to their ancestral home. It is humiliating for Harry, but it shows the desperation of Charles. He is effectively saying, Harry, be a man, make the decision, bring them home. In his memoir, Spare, Harry revealed that Charles begged his sons after the Oprah interview, please, boys, don't make my final years a misery. Well, Harry, look in the mirror. Who is making his final years a misery? Is it William, who is serving the crown? Or is it you, who is keeping the grandchildren away? The king's desire for peace is now the dominant force in his life. He isn't interested in blame anymore. He is past that stage. He just wants the simple memories. He wants to see Archie playing in the gardens at Highgrove. He wants to bounce Lilibet on his knee. He isn't asking for them to be paraded on the balcony. He isn't asking for them to be folded into royal duties. He just wants to be a grandfather, and this desire is rooted in his own history. The report reveals a sentimental side to Charles that we rarely see. He is haunted by the ghost of his own grandfather, King George VI. King George VI died when Charles was just 3 years old. Charles has no real memories of him. He missed out on that relationship, and he is terrified that history is repeating itself with Archie and Lilibet. He doesn't want them to grow up looking at a history book to see who their grandfather was. He wants them to know him. In Charles's case, it was unavoidable, the source says. But with Archie and Lily, he says there's still time to right the ship. Still time. But how much time? The tragedy is that Harry knows this. During his legal battle against the Home Office, Harry released a statement saying, "The UK is central to the heritage of my children and a place I want them to feel at home." Harry wants it. Charles wants it. So why isn't it happening? Because the third party in this triangle, the Duchess of Sussex, has seemingly decided that her comfort, her grudge, and her future in the US outweighs the birthright of her children. The source says Charles finds it deeply wrong that the children don't know their family history, their roots, or the country that's part of who they are. They are 6th and 7th in line to the throne. They are princes and princesses of the United Kingdom, and yet they are growing up as Californians with no connection to the source of their titles. It is a theft of heritage, and Charles, as a traditionalist, finds it offensive. But there is a glimmer of hope, or perhaps a glimmer of masterful guilt-tripping by the king. Eagle-eyed fans noticed something extraordinary at Clarence House last week. In the background of a photo prominently displayed was a picture of King Charles walking Meghan Markle down the aisle. This is a massive signal. It is a visual olive branch. Despite everything Meghan has said, despite the racist royal claims, despite the mockery of the curtsy, Charles still keeps that photo on his mantle. It reminds the world, and it reminds Meghan, that when she had no one, when her own father wasn't there, Charles stepped up. He offered her his arm. He welcomed her. The insider shares the king's hope that his estranged daughter-in-law will find it in her heart to move forward. He hopes that seeing that photo, hearing about his cancer, might melt the ice. He keeps coming back to the idea that this situation doesn't have to stay frozen forever if everyone is willing to soften a little. But is Meghan willing to soften, or is she made of stone? That is the question that will define the next year. If she refuses to let Harry bring the children, even for a private visit, she confirms every critic's worst suspicion, that she uses the children as weapons, that she is punishing the king by withholding his grandkids. Charles feels strongly that Harry will one day regret it if too much time passes without building that bridge. He is warning his son about the guilt of the survivor. When Charles is gone, Harry will have to live with the fact that he denied his father this final wish. This request, stand up to Meghan, is the ultimate test of Harry's character. Is he a prince or is he a puppet? Can he make a decision for the good of his children's heritage, or is he too afraid of upsetting the apple cart in Montecito? The king is reducing his cancer treatment. He is fighting to stay alive. He is doing his part. Now it is up to the Sussexes to do theirs. I want to know what you think. Will Harry listen to his father and stand up to Meghan? Or will Meghan continue to block the children from visiting the UK? And do you think it is cruel to keep the grandchildren away from a king battling cancer? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you think the king deserves to see his grandchildren, hit that like button. And subscribe to the channel for the truth about the struggle for the soul of the royal family. Until next time, keep your eyes on the palace.